Following the leaking of a confidential letter regarding the escalating cost for an official residence for the governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, other officials and Caribbean professionals and citizens have been expressing their opinion on the residence being built at Beacon Heights, St. Kitts. Recently, Prime Minister Gaston Brown of Antigua and Barbuda, the incoming chairman of the ECCU Monetary Council for the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, expressed his belief that the Monetary Council was, quote, flat-footed in regards to the $22 million governor's official residence.
Clearly, there are some governance failures there, and going forward, we're going to have to strengthen the reporting mechanisms and the accountability mechanisms to strengthen the governance framework. Because at the level of the Monetary Council, I would say we were caught flat-footed in terms of the amount of money spent. But I don't know that we can escape the responsibility. One can argue that we ought to have known.
Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves addressed his leaked confidential letter to Prime Minister Brown as the chairman of the ECCU Monetary Council during a period when Anguilla still held the seat of chairmanship. That act itself raised questions among some political pundits. However, Prime Minister Gaston Brown said on a radio show that he is to assume chairmanship of the council officially in July, pointing out he is not the current chairperson. Nevertheless, he believes the matter should be resolved and be public informed.
There's no evidence that the governor himself had sought to be excessive, and certainly I don't know that I have seen any case of corruption also that would create an issue in terms of undermining the governor's integrity. I feel that at this point, until we get a proper report, we may even have to set up some independent committee to look at this issue. The amounts that were spent on the building has raised concerns, and many of us as Monetary Council members, we are concerned, but it may be a little premature for me to make any definitive statements at this time, other than to say that the matter has to be dealt with and resolved, and at some point the Monetary Council will meet and discuss this issue. Okay. And certainly we'll have to keep the public informed as to how this matter is ultimately resolved.
Meanwhile, the act by Prime Minister Gonsalves, along with his allegations and adverse descriptive language used in his letter, has some Caribbean personalities raising questions about ulterior motives on the part of the Vincentian Prime Minister and the need to have an independent and fair investigation of the matter.
Can understand the muscularity and the extreme tone of the contents of Dr. Gonsalves' letter. Past being clinical, sounds personal. So I'm told that as we speak, the situation is being examined, and that is the right thing to do. I expect that the examination will be independent and professional, and it will be unimpeachably administered, and that the public will be appropriately informed and in a timely manner. Let us give the process a fair chance, therefore, and let proper and fair action be taken. This is a very serious matter, and we in the OECS must treat it as a teachable moment. And we, our central bank and our institutions, must try to come out of all of this better and stronger and more resilient.
Well-known veteran broadcaster, Caribbean journalist Julian Rogers, in an article referred to a possible reason for the attack on the governor rather than the internal self-monitoring systems of the bank. He wrote in his article, quote, Antoine was reappointed for a second term as ECCB governor in February 2021. With his current term nearing its end, speculation is growing about whether Dr. Gonsalves' criticism of the governor and the residence project is part of a broader effort to prevent Antoine from securing a third term. Given Gonsalves' political weight within the ECCU, his opposition could shape the decision-making process when Antoine's reappointment is discussed, end quote. The leaked letter has generated much discussion in many quarters of society here in St. Kitts and Nevis and across the member countries of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.